So you may be wondering what the hell these two anime have in common, since one is about some random teenager gaining the power to extract unique weapons from people whilst being embroiled in a resistance movement fighting against an oppressive government, while the other is about some other random teenager becoming a half ghoul which have random abilities but must eat human meat. Well, both have a protagonist that turns into a right git. And secondly, I'm bloody disappointed with the both of these anime. Anyway, Guilty Crown is set after a deadly virus killed lots of people, turning Japan into an oppressive dystopia future, where they allow their police to basically kill anyone who looks at them funny. Within this country, there is a resistance group using lower quality mechs to fight for justice and freedom, and is led by a very intelligent and manipulative bloke. Yeah, it does sound a lot like Code Geass, doesn't it? But I didn't compare those two because I found a far better fit for Code Geass. And in Guilty Crown, the protagonist isn't the intelligent guy, but a regular school introvert named Shu. I understand why they felt the need to shift the protagonist role, as otherwise that would immediately become a Code Geass clone. So during the first several episodes, I was gearing up for an anime about strategic battles based around the void genome. And that is exactly the case, for the first half. But then the anime decided to go in a somewhat different direction. Okay, so I'm going to have to give a spoiler warning here, so if you want to feel the disappointment for yourself, then skip to this point in the video. Okay? Right then. So at the end of the first arc, Guy heroically sacrifices himself by killing his girlfriend as she was trying to kill literally everyone. It was quite a moving scene and was a fine end to a good character. But then a few episodes down the line, they bring him back and make him evil, without any explanation. I mean, seriously, this is supposed to be the same man who felt guilty over sending people to their deaths. And yet now he's wanting to kill all of humanity, and again, for no reason. Oh, and the title Guilty Crown doesn't refer to Guy feeling guilty of being the leader of a funeral parlour in that he had to care about people. It refers to potentially worse aspects of the second half, in that Shu becomes a massive dickhead. He basically becomes the dictator of the school and prioritises people based off their voids. And when you think about it, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, as many voids have specific functions that still can be used. Sota's void can literally open anything and has been very useful in missions in the past. So why was he given the lowest priority? I mean, if he used it against mechs, then it could potentially open up every hatch, cover and rivet, exposing a whole bunch of weak points. Incidentally, I'm not sure why the remotely controlled mechs need their pilots to feel pain whenever it gets damaged, unless the commanders want their pilots to be extra cautious when advancing. Sorry, I seem to be going off on a tangent. Yeah, I understand that this is probably the intention from the beginning, considering the title of the anime, but it doesn't make me any less disappointed in it. I mean, Guilty Crown could have been so much more, but I felt it was both predictable and lacking. Weirdly though, the more I look back on it, the more positive I feel about it. So maybe I'm saying this because it's been quite a while since I actually watched it, but I would recommend Guilty Crown, so long as you really drop your standards at the second half. Right, now here's Tokyo Ghoul, which is about a regular school introvert named Kaneki, who becomes half a ghoul after a ghoul's organs were put into him without his permission. Therefore, he must deal with his new life since ghouls can only eat human meat and are thus rightfully hunted by a government force called the CCG. This anime really has more plot holes than plot. First one comes to mind, if the CCG know that ghouls are drawn to dead bodies, why don't they just set poisoned or tracked meat scattered around the city in alleys and suicide spots? Also, presuming ghouls can only eat human meat, and that they are very numerous, why hasn't Tokyo's population basically been decimated? Also, if the only food that doesn't taste disgusting to a ghoul is coffee, wouldn't several ghouls owning and running a coffee shop be extremely risky? I mean, there's literally an entire prison full of ghouls, any of whom collects the coffee fact. Oh, and on the prison episode, there's a gas that incapacitates ghouls rather effectively, but does no harm to humans. They're used as grenades in early episodes, so I just assumed it was some sort of rare gas. But in the prison break, They fucking flood the entire prison with the stuff. Setting aside the fact that this wasn't done the instant the ghouls broke out of their cells, what the hell stops the police from using this gas all the time? If I were in charge, I would occasionally spray entire districts with the gas, both revealing and incapacitating every ghoul without harming humans at all. You could even sell the stuff to the general public, just like you would with pepper spray. But there is one more insanely obvious plot hole, and it appears at the end of the first arc. Kaneki joins Uguri after being brutally tortured by them, and they've been utter cunts thus far. And I know that this is apparently explained in the manga, but I don't read manga. I watch anime, and judge it entirely by what I see, and not about the behind-the-scenes stuff. That's, in a way, why I'm disappointed with this anime. As during the first few episodes, I had high expectations, as it did have good character portrayal, and many places where the plot could have gone. This brings me to my conclusion about Tokyo Ghoul. It is as unfinished as Dead Man Wonderland, and as poorly executed as Out Noah Zero. Or to put it a less nerdy way, I will not recommend this anime at all. That concludes yet another anime comparison. See you next time.